The Black Anglo-Saxon, and today we are going to be talking Peter Thiel, the Vatican, accelerationist. And I know we've talked about this in the past, but I wanted to double back around because I saw an article today that made me very intrigued. Peter Thiel has visited the Vatican to have conversations around being paranoid that the Antichrist or of the Antichrist. And I find that intriguing because he is a self-identified accelerationist, which we've went over on this channel before, and how they view themselves as gods on earth and how they also perceive what human capacity is in relation to technology. Why, and is why I have that conversation around detaching slavery from hatred and rather talking about it from a lens or an angle of extraction of labor and the ability to distort, control, and manipulate environment for the extraction of wealth. And I'm going to pull up the article and share this so that you all can see what I'm seeing, just so that we know it's real, because I know that people don't necessarily always want to believe. So Peter Thiel fears the Antichrist is coming in Rome. Some call his view hearsay. So the right-wing tech investor is giving lectures near the Catholic Church's administrative heart, and commentators there are rejecting his apocalyptic vision. It says, for months, Peter Thiel, the right-wing tech billionaire, has warned of what he sees as an imminent threat from the Antichrist, an entity portrayed in some Christian traditions as one of Jesus' ultimate enemies. Mr. Thiel, an investor in artificial intelligence, says that he is drawing on biblical prophecies to warn of an Antichrist who will promise safety from existential risks like nuclear war, climate change, and artificial intelligence, only to bring about something worse: one world, totalitarian government. Now, Mr. Thiel is encountering resistance from Christian thinkers in the Roman Catholic Church, just as he tries to build support for his ideas in the church's backyard in Rome. This week, Mr. Thiel arrived in Rome to deliver 4 lectures on the Antichrist. The series, which began on Sunday, is exploring how occult forces are ceaselessly at work, intent on destroying what remains of the West, according to the conservative Christian group hosting him. In response, Catholics have decried Mr. Thiel's vision in several articles over the past week, and one was titled American Hearsay: Should We Burn Peter Thiel? I'm going to go ahead and pull that down for now, because what I want to have a discussion about, and I thought it was very interesting because Peter Thiel is talking about a totalitarian government, but Peter Thiel is also the person who has technology that has been deployed in a way in which we see in movies where we have things called pre-crime. He has initiatives with government contracts that actually bolsters the and reinforces the infrastructure of ICE. And so it just really, really took me aback as to how he can be the person who is making this claim and making this statement. And then I asked myself, well, Peter Thiel is going to Rome. And from what I also heard, he went to have discussions specifically with the Vatican. And what I need people to understand when it comes to the Vatican, that the Vatican is a sovereign territory. It is a state within itself. And so, again, this is just, think about it, people. I know you probably saying, what does this have to do with any particular thing that's going on? Why should I care about this? And I'm saying that you should probably care about it because I asked the question on my Facebook, which industry is going to get bailed out first this year? And we have to pay attention to the fact that tech was one of the larger industries and one of the larger stakeholder groups that was donating to this presidential campaign that pushed Trump across the board. Elon Musk was at the front, but we saw a lot of different tech giants shift gears when it comes to their support and when it comes to the dollars in which they threw behind the actual campaign itself. And with that being said, we always have to pay attention to who funds campaigns because who funds campaigns usually has levers pulled within their favor, which is why, again, it is very interesting that this is the person who is talking about occultism and all of these different things that people have called hearsay in the past, but now we see with the e-files and things that are coming out in nature like that, that a lot of these things are more true than we would have liked to believe in the past, you know? So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up real quick because I want everybody to understand that Peter Thiel is a self-proclaimed accelerationist, and I want y'all to understand what an accelerationist is. It says the tech accelerationist God complex refers to a growing ideology among certain Silicon Valley elites, often termed effective accelerationism, who believe that rapid, unrestricted development of artificial general intelligence, AGI, and technology is necessary to solve all human problems, even if it brings significant risk. This worldview is characterized by a God complex, extreme arrogance, entitlement, and a sense of omnipotence, where proponents view themselves as shaping the future of humanity and believe technology can achieve godlike capabilities. It says key aspects of this mentality include techno utopianism. Accelerationists believe AI is humanity's most important invention and that pushing towards a technological singularity, a point where AI exceeds human intelligence, is an existential imperative. And EAC, effective accelerationism, promoted by figures such as Mark Andreessen. This philosophy argues that the only path to better future is to accelerate technological growth, dismissing concerns about safety regulations, etc. And so we get down, and I'm gonna pull this down because it talks about the fact that some of these people are in a situation and in a position where they might not necessarily be bad actors themselves, but because the technology is now into the hands of nations, nations are at a arms race to use this AGI, to use this technological weapon and deploy it. So the interesting part about what Theo is saying is that I agree with him in sentiment. I just think it's interesting that it's coming from an individual like Thiel himself, who is a self-proclaimed accelerationist. And that's where I just had the level of intrigue. But I think it's very important that we pay attention to this because it is a signal. I always tell people pay attention to what the Titans are saying, to what the juggernauts are saying, and to what the people who have the powers of people who control and pull levers, because Peter Thiel is not going to the Vatican for no reason. Peter Thiel is not having these lectures for no reason. These are very highly intelligent, focused men. These are very disciplined men. And you can disagree with their stance and their position, but you must understand that what they say, what they don't say, what they allow, what they don't allow has consequence. But let me know what y'all think about Peter Thiel visiting the Vatican, his prior relationships with contracts regarding ICE, and attaching himself to a totalitarian regime in itself that is trying to break through what we call American democracy, because you all know how I feel about that here. It's not democracy in the way that we think it is. And I just want to know how y'all feel about it. Do you think it's something worth paying attention to, or do you think it's something that we should actually look at, especially when we have the creation of these data centers, the talks of AI bubbles? And I recently learned that data centers operate on a 3 year, 4 year, 5 year cycle when it comes to the actual output and longevity of the infrastructure itself, which is crazy because when you think about something causing $6, $7 billion a watt, um, that adds up quickly when we talk about something usually that is done infrastructurally as an investment, usually lasts us at least a decade or two. So, you know, go ahead, chime off in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. This is a conversational piece. I don't really have a thought either way, but I do think it's interesting. I just saw that came across my feed and I was like, wow, Peter Thiel, Vatican, accelerationists, the new gods on earth, talking to the old gods. Crazy.